Hey there friends, David Paulides, Canadian Missing Project. This is our executive producer, Huck. No, she has not gained weight. That is just a massive amount of hair that's coming in right now. And many of you don't know, but Pyrenees have an exterior and an interior. See, I can pull the hair apart, you can't even see the skin. It's because it's so thick. She can go out and lay on a pile of snow for hours and it won't bother her. She's a good girl. Yeah, she's a good girl. She'll hang out with us. Now, that movie right there, American Sasquatch, Man, Myth, or Monster, available December 1st on Amazon. I hope you can watch it. Give us your thoughts. Give us your opinions. And another blockbuster event. I take a lot of heat needlessly. Sometimes I don't even understand people doing it, but we just put our movies, the three of them, Missing 411, Missing 411 The Hunted, Missing 411 The UFO Connection. They're all on YouTube for free. They're all on Tubi for free. I take so much heat. They say, oh, you know, all he is money hungry, this, that. I'm giving this to you guys for free. All the videos I'm doing for you on YouTube right now are free. It's frustrating. Some of the online comments are just obnoxious as all heck. So, we are still on the cluster in Washington, in Snohomish County. And the video we're going to do today, I've done one on this person a long time ago. There's a ton of new information that I'm going to throw at you about this and explain it in great detail. And I'm also including, because if you've been watching the last couple videos, last three as a matter of fact, have all been in this same cluster. Yeah, it does look like something strange is going on, definitely. And after you watch this video, I guarantee you're going to think something strange is going on. This case represents the most thorough and comprehensive search for a missing person in the state of Washington I've ever researched. I guarantee it. And I don't mean just the government side of the search. There's also the private side of the search that we're going to explain. The location is Vesper Peak. This is what the top of the mountain looks like. I want you to see that. That's all granite. Slippery, slopey. Some of the pieces of granite are huge. Vesper Peak. Now the trail, there's different stories about this, but the Trails Washington says that Vesper Peak is 4,892 feet tall in the Mount Baker Snoqualmie National Forest. When you get up to the top of Vesper, you have a stunning view of the Monte Cristos and Glacier Peak. If you go online and Google search Vesper Peak and then hit images, you're going to see some pictures that'll just blow you away. Now, there are animals in this area: black bears, elk, goats, and deer. I've been on some of the peaks in Colorado where some of the animals walk right up to you. I mean, mountain goats, they'll walk right up to you. They're not afraid of you. Now, you start hiking on Vesper on the Surprise Mine Trail. I want you to listen to this. The Washington Trails Association defined Vesper as, quote, a sea of granite. Vesper Peak is definitely not for the novice hiker, but for those thirsting for one step beyond hiking and into the backcountry adventure. It's a good leaping off point. It's relatively easy off-trail hiking by the low angle of the granite fields. What this essentially says is that you don't need to be an advanced climbing specialist or have special climbing skills to climb Vesper, but you better be in pretty good shape. The payoff is huge. And it is gorgeous. The case involves Samantha Sayers. This is the wanted poster put out by the Snohomish County Sheriff's Office on Samantha. 27 years old, missing August 1st, 2018, Vesper Peak. Samantha was a good soul. She was raised in Girard, Pennsylvania, where she graduated from high school. She's a victim of an autoimmune affliction called alopecia. Look at her head. The loss of all your hair. At one point when she was in high school, she wore a wig. And Sam was the kind of person that when people came up to her and said, hey, why are you wearing a strange wig or this and that, she'd just take the wig off and engage the person in conversation. Talk directly about it. She wasn't afraid of it. After graduating high school, she attended New York State University at Fredonia. She majored in technical theater. And during the summer, she worked for an organization called Playground Summer Camp. And later, she graduated with a degree in theater. She moved to Seattle, Washington, and got a job at the Repertory Theater in town. She eventually left and got a series of odd jobs to support herself. Samantha was a hard worker. She was well liked by everyone who met her. She was innovative, and she was in shape. Well, she went on a dating app called Tinder. And she met a man there named Kevin Dares. They slowly developed a relationship and they hit it off. Kevin described Samantha as super smart, cool, and funny. He said she was the perfect partner. The couple eventually moved in together. Both of them were in good shape. Samantha better than Kevin. Well, Samantha liked hiking, liked the outdoors, liked it that she was within a couple hours of some beautiful, beautiful spots up in the mountains of Washington. And she was planning to take a day hike on August 1st up to Vesper Peak. So she made an online post asking if there was anyone who wanted to join her as a hiking partner for the day. Nobody answered up. Well, it wasn't the first time that Samantha had climbed Vesper. She'd summited it before. She knew exactly the amount of energy it was going to take, the time it was going to take, and she knew she could do it alone. But she was smart, like I said. So the night of July 31st, she told Kevin that she was going to get up early the next morning and go on the hike just to remind him. And she'd get a hold of him on the phone by 5 or 6 when she was off the mountain. Kevin said, great, okay, have a good time, be safe. make sure you call me. Now, stop right there. It was never made clear why Kevin didn't go. And it's not relevant, really. I mean, I've been with partners before that wanted to do something and I just didn't want to do it that day. Or I didn't feel good or something. But it's irrelevant to the story. Early in the morning, she drove her 2018 blue Ford Fiesta to the Sunrise Mine trailhead. She parked her car, grabbed her day pack, and at 10 a.m. she signed the logbook at the Sunrise Mine trailhead. A lot of these trails, when you're entering the wilderness, have a logbook. Or you have to sign that you're entering the wilderness and when you're going to be out. This one has one right at the trailhead. Date, time, etc. There was one there. She signed it at 10 o'clock. And she started to climb. One hiker said that they saw Samantha at the summit at 3 o'clock. And she had finished her lunch and she was getting ready to get off the mountain then. And another hiker said that they saw her descending the peak via the southwest side at just a little after 3. And to that hiker, it was of concern that that southwest side wasn't the side that most people went down on. Now that's okay to me. This mountain was pretty open. It wasn't a huge danger zone. Samantha had already climbed it once. She knew what it was all about. Sometimes when you go into an area, you want to go down a different area. Go down a different route. And that's fine. And I've done that many times, as a matter of fact. So, the trail to the summit is a series of switchbacks through huge boulder fields. On that date, August 1st, there were a significant number of fires out in the distance from Vesper. Not anything close, but because the visibility is so fantastic there, you see a lot of fires. And unfortunately, during that span, there were a lot of fires in Washington. So, somebody sees Samantha going down that southeast side after 3. Kevin expected a call from Samantha sometime between 5 and 6. Stop right here. I want you to know that as I'm going through this, I'm thinking to myself, Samantha did a lot of things right. She tried to get a hiking partner to go with her, posted something online. Nobody wanted to go. That's cool. She knew the area super well. She had climbed it, so she didn't need a map, didn't need a trail guide. She told somebody exactly when she was going to leave and when she would be off the mountain. Exactly what you should do. She had a cell phone with her. Now, the cell phones today are quite different than they were in 2018. Now, most of them have a personal locator beacon built into them. Now, I would have wished that Samantha had a PLB with her, but she didn't. But acknowledge, she did a lot of things right. There's many people that would climb and never even tell anybody when they're going to be off the mountain. And the only way they would have been found is that car would have been parked there a week, and then someone would have noticed it was there for a week and then called the sheriff. But Kevin was a caring, loving boyfriend. When he didn't hear from Samantha, he got on his horse and he did the right thing. At 7 o'clock, he knew something was wrong. Samantha hadn't called. She was a diligent person. She'd do what she said she'd do. Kevin got into his car and drove to Vesper. At about 10 o'clock, Kevin drove into the parking lot at the trailhead for Vesper, and he immediately saw the only car in the parking lot. It was Samantha's. He checked the car. Everything looked normal. It was locked. There was no damage. It looked like she had just left it. So now you're Kevin. What are you going to do? It's dark out. Nobody's around. He did what I probably would have done. He ran up the trail calling Sam's name, trying to understand what might have happened as he's moving up. Kevin searched the trail for hours and found nothing. My mind would have been racing. I would have thought, well, did she make it to the car and somebody abducted her from the parking lot? Did she have an accident on the mountain? What's going on? In reality, there's a very small chance that moving on the trail at dark is going to serve any purpose. But I would have done the same thing. The reason being is that there was probably other people that moving up and down that trail during the day up until dark as well, and they would have probably seen something if she was there. But also, by clearing that trail, he knew something was really wrong. My stomach would have been in knots if I was him. Well, just by chance, not that far from that parking lot, on this lonely 2-lane road going through the mountains, there's a payphone there. Cell phones don't work. There's a payphone. And that payphone has been used by many people over the years to report emergencies in that area. Missing people, injured hikers, accidents, etc. Kevin went to the phone, called 911, got connected to Snohomish County Sheriff's dispatch, explained that Samantha was missing on the trail to Vesper Peak. Her car was there, and he needed some search assistance. Everything right. That's exactly what he should have done. Well, at about 20 minutes after that, sometime around 1:30 in the morning, Snohomish County Sheriff's Patrol Sergeant John Adams arrives and meets with Kevin. Now, why'd they send a sergeant? Because a sergeant is the one that's going to have to approve of a search call-up. Patrolman can't. Kevin explained the situation. The sergeant said, okay, we're going to need a call-up. And the request was made for an organizational meeting at the trailhead at 6 a.m. I want you to remember something. By now it's like 2:30 in the morning. 95% of all search and rescue is done by people like you and me, volunteers. Imagine getting a call at 2 or 2:30 in the morning and being told you need to be in the mountains in 4 hours for a search and rescue. I don't think I could have gone back to sleep. I'd be too jacked up. I'd probably have to get dressed and just go early. Well, Snohomish eventually established the search and rescue headquarters at a place called the Big Four Ice Caves at Spada Lake. Yeah, the Spada Lake cluster. Now, there's no doubt in my mind that things were moving slow at this point for Kevin. But you can't have people on that mountain searching at night, especially in areas that they're not ultra familiar with. And remember, I showed you this, the granite all over the top. You fall on that, you can get hurt, cut yourself real bad. No. Kevin gave the following description to the sergeant of Samantha. She's 5'8", 125 pounds, carrying a blue backpack, carrying 2 hiking poles, wearing a beige sun hat, a maroon hoodie, and she's in excellent physical condition. And you can't miss her because her head is bald. Remember how many times I've talked to you about people with special conditions disappearing? This is pretty special. This location was almost exactly 25 air miles east of Everett, Washington. So let's talk about the cluster area. So Everett is right here. The March disappearance, the Wright disappearance, the Hunter, the 2 college students who disappeared on Mount Index, and now Samantha Sayers right here. Very close to the Wright disappearance. Right there is Spada Lake. 17 miles from this point to this point. So here to here, I'm going to guess it's 3 or 4 miles. Very close. Never found. Never found. October of 47, October of 97, October of 47, August 2018. This is all real high mountain rugged area out in here. Got it? The search and rescue was able to get a helicopter from Kings County, equipped with FLIR, and it flew the mountain for the first 33 hours. 8 hours a day for 4 days. Helicopters cost between $1,500 and $3,000 an hour. That was a big, big jump in the search. It was a phenomenal amount of helicopter time for any search. Samantha's parents, Ron and Lisa, lived out of state, and they heard of the disappearance and flew to Seattle right away. Hundreds of ground pounders were on that mountain. Hundreds. Kevin was one of those that was there every day. Didn't miss it. Didn't miss a beat. The effort to find Samantha wasn't big. It was huge. A normal search and rescue, probably 7 or 8 days. This went on for almost 3 weeks. The summary that was given by Snohomish County is 105 hours of drone use, 357 hours of air operations, 82 hours by a marine unit in the lake at the bottom of this mountain. I should say that I read up about this, and those searchers didn't really think she was in there. They just wanted to clear it. And they actually dove those lakes looking for anything. They didn't find anything. 8,000 hours of search and rescue members' time on the mountain. Huge. Now, as this is going on, detectives from the sheriff's office are doing the background work. Yeah, they interviewed Kevin. They interviewed his friends. They interviewed everyone related to Samantha to understand her. And the sheriff sent a detective out to check her cell phone. And the last time it was pinged was midday on August 1st, the day she was on the mountain. Now, at this time, where Snohomish County and Search and Rescue are saying, hey, our searchers are exhausted. We put everything we can of our heart and soul into this. We talked to her. Now, this is a conversation they had with Kevin and the parents. And they said, we don't know what else we can do. We searched every place we can. And friends, they were lying. When you think about the amount of effort put into this, probably 2 or 3 times the normal effort of a regular search. And why did they get that much time? Because the parents and Kevin were right there pushing. Samantha had huge advocates for her. And in any search and rescue, the bigger the advocate you are, the more time you're going to get out of search and rescue. I have never covered a missing persons case anywhere around Washington. Let me preface that. I've never covered a missing persons case where a non-relative exerted as much energy trying to find someone as Kevin did trying to find Samantha. I use those words carefully, but I meant them. At a time when the searchers were pulling out and Snohomish County was leaving, Kevin, in the back of his mind, was just getting going. Now, there was another man named Carlton Carr, C-A-R-R, that had started to get involved with Samantha's search, and he and Kevin became friends. A lot of mixed information about Carlton out there. A lot of people said a lot of bad things. I'm not going to say anything bad about him. He worked very hard on that mountain, just like Kevin. They brought up the fact that he had done time in jail before, but he worked very hard. I admire that. Well, Kevin rallied 6 other searchers to help him after the initial search was shut down. And he held a fundraiser that was able to hire another helicopter for more searches, and even got a canine to come out. The dog was named Raven. And the goal of that was to get that dog into locations that most dogs wouldn't go. Crevices, ravines, tight places. Brilliant. Brilliant. Kevin and Carlton were organized. One of the searchers talked to Kevin and said, you need to make Carlton the search manager. You need to be out there searching. Carlton needs to be managing everybody. And they had a lot of people involved. That private search lasted more than 120 days. To put that amount of effort to find someone that was obviously deceased is an exercise in pure love. Most of us couldn't do it. Kevin took away from work and just said, forget it. I gotta find her. There are few people in the entire world that would do that. The efforts were physically and mentally draining. Now let's shift gears for a second. Step away from Samantha. So Samantha disappeared August 1st, 2018. October 17th, 2019, a woman named Rachel Lakadek went missing, 28 years old, hiking alone from Moses Lake, Washington. She disappeared in Skagit County. Another huge search. Rachel was hiking up a trail, and she could see that there was weather ahead. And as she's hiking up, a couple are coming down. And she engaged them in conversation. And she says, "Hey, what's it like up there?" And they said, "Yeah, it's getting rough up there. The visibility's not good." And, they kind of laid it out for her. She goes, "Yeah, I have a lot of clothes and things. I think I'll be okay. I'm going to keep going." She hiked into a horrific winter storm. "667 days after Rachel disappeared, Kevin and Carlton stepped into the search looking for Rachel and searching for her just on their own. No relationship to it, no specific knowledge. But those two had spent so much time on a mountain, they figured that they could come pretty close to finding even Rachel where others have not. So Kevin was searching, and he comes across a backpack and some sleeping bag, a partial sleeping bag. Rachel's goal was to get to the Hidden Lake Lookout on her 28th birthday, about an 8-mile round trip from the car. Kevin found some of these belongings near a tree, near a small fire that apparently she started. And he radios down to Carlton. He goes, "Hey, tell me the color of the things that were with her." And he gives it back to him and explains it. And downhill from the trail, apparently she got lost. She was trying to drop down out of weather. She was found 1,000 feet below where those two hikers had spoke to her about weather. And she was about 3 miles from the parking lot. Kevin succeeded where hundreds and a search and rescue organization failed. He found Rachel. An insurmountable win. They got her. She was deceased. But still he found her. I gotta hand it to Carlton and him. They essentially did the impossible. When he was asked about what he thought about that, he said, "Why can't I find Samantha?" Wow. Friends, I wish I could give him that answer. As thorough as his search, his private search was of over 120 days, as thorough as the 3-week search that was done, throwing every piece of technology against that mountain and not being able to find her, what the heck is going on? Now, this is the search of Vesper Peak for Samantha. Her cell phone ping number 1 was up here. Cell phone ping number 3 was right here. Quite a thorough search. Over the years, I've told you that many of these searches aren't so good. And a lot of people say, well, that's why they're not finding anyone. It's not real thorough, blah, blah, blah. You can't say that about Samantha's search. It was phenomenal. Do I think she's on the mountain? If she is, I have no idea where she could be. Either does Kevin, either does Carlton, either do 6 different search and rescue organizations in the entire Snohomish County Sheriff's Office. It's a real mystery. Do I think she was abducted in the parking lot? No, I don't. You probably know what I think. She had a very unusual condition, that alopecia. Could that have played into this? I don't know. But you know what? I pray that Samantha's mom and dad and Kevin can have peace in their life. And Kevin, you deserve it, brother. You deserve it. You gave your heart and soul to that lady trying to find her. And you gave one family a gift that they'll be forever grateful for, and that's finding Rachel. Now, sometimes we don't understand things, why it happens. I was at a Chinese restaurant 3 days ago. I was by myself eating lunch. I swear to you, I got this. It says, your kindness will be appreciated by many. I hope so. I hope so. Kindness isn't something you can weigh, judge. It's just something that you've got to emit. You've got to be kind. I greatly appreciate you being here. I do. And I hope in some way these clusters show you the unusual nature of these cases. After I presented to you Dinky Creek, I had probably 30 or 40 of you write and say, hey, keep those clusters going. I like them. They're easy to understand, and they really put it together in understanding. I hope so. I hope so. So, you be safe, you be kind. Paulides out.